Won't you take me back to Tennessee?
The award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest info about hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. This episode is brought to you by GSM Outdoors, whose vision is to preserve the sportsman's legacy, fuel innovation, and enable the next generation of outdoor enthusiasts. Think outside. That's where you'll find us. Now, make welcome your host, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. I'm Jason Harmon. I'm your host, and we have some exciting news for you on this show. And I got Miss Mime Barnes helping me co-host.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you in Nashville again.
It is. This one's an exciting one.
Yeah. Do you want to drop the news?
We do some amazingly cool things within our agency, and we have really, really cool, fascinating, intelligent coworkers and partners, and we have a couple here with us today. If folks weren't with us on October 22nd, or they didn't see the live announcement online, or if they haven't heard it on the news yet, we have some exciting happenings taking place with partners with U.S. Fish and Wildlife and natural areas and state parks. And that is the reintroduction of the Red-cockaded Woodpecker. We're bringing something back, Jason.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's very exciting. It was a great event this past week. A lot of people were there, and the announcement was made, and I know it was exciting. And I'm excited to have our guest today and dive more into this. And thank you all for watching and listening. Before we go much deeper, WOKI in Knoxville, we appreciate them. News Talk 98.7. Wildcast airs on Saturdays at 1:30, so in the middle of the day. So that's pretty cool to have a time slot there on WOKI in Knoxville. We appreciate them, and we appreciate all our other radio partners, as well as you guys out there watching and listening, sharing this stuff, and we appreciate that. But let's dive in, Mimi. Mr. Sam King and David Haney are with us today.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, this is really great to be here. Thanks for having us. Very exciting.
Yeah, it's these guys are instrumental in making all this happen, and part of the work that brought all this back and brought this bird back to Tennessee, and we're just excited to have them, and we're going to dive in.
Let's say really quickly, we in our vernacular call the Red-cockaded Woodpecker RCW. Mm-hmm. So if listeners hear us saying RCW, they know we're talking about the Red-cockaded Woodpecker. I just want to throw it out there.
Yeah, no. We've been throwing it around, and I have to train my brain. RCW, what's she talking about? Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's great. So let's start with Sam. Sam, you're first time on the show, and tell us a little bit about yourself. Yeah.
Well, like you said, my name's Sam King. I'm the Natural Areas Program Manager at the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. You may know TDEC from some of our other hits, like Tennessee State Parks. Very popular. Most people know and enjoy parks, and we love that. I work for the Natural Areas Program, which is similar to state parks in that it's state lands, preserves, fulfilling our mission to preserve and protect, but with a little different focus, where our parks are more recreation focused, getting people out, hiking, paddling, fishing, and stuff like that. Our natural areas are there to kind of protect and show off the best examples of plants, animals, natural communities that Tennessee has, and what makes Tennessee so special. And so that's kind of what our program does, and I love working in the natural areas and with a great team that manages those and looks after our rare species and our great natural communities in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And Sam, how'd you end up there?
I actually started with TDEC in state parks, which was great. I worked as a park ranger, the boots on the ground out there in the state park, and then after a few years transferred over and really kind of followed what I like to do, and that's the managing land. So going out, doing the prescribed burns, taking care of invasive species, making sure that our rare plants have what they need to thrive and stay present in Tennessee.
Yeah. And boy, oh boy, is he managing some lands. Mm-hmm. This is just one tiny project, but even it is 12,000 acres.
It's big. Savage Gulf, one of our biggest sites, about 16,000. This RCW project area.
Crazy.
Currently 3,000, could be more, just depends on how things go. So it's a big chunk of land out there, and we're super excited to have it. It's a great example of a Tennessee natural area.
Well, you mentioned how things go, and this is just the beginning. This project is going to take a while, and we're going to learn all about that today. But yeah, great work you guys are doing great work out there, and it's
Amazing.
awesome how our agencies kind of connect in some ways. Often people get us confused with park rangers or a game warden or park ranger or whatnot, but TDEC and TWRA work together in so many ways, and this is one of them right here. How we connect and jive. So, David, you've been with us for a while now here at the agency.
It's been 10 years.
10 years, yeah. You've been on the show before. Tell folks who you are, remind them who you are, and a little bit about your history in this position.
So I'm David Haney. I've been in bird conservation world for about 25 years now. Before I came to Tennessee or TWRA, I worked for a not-for-profit bird conservancy of the Rockies. And what we did there was just design a lot of bird monitoring programs, did a lot of bird research, and so when I heard about this opportunity in Tennessee to actually, the one thing that was really limiting that I didn't get to do at that position was start to do work on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And so working with TWRA, it really gives me that opportunity to do both the research and, help these birds at grassroots levels.
That's awesome.
I know you work, you have countless partners within your position, David, but he's it for the state.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yep. One man show.
It always blows me away that he can be involved in, and I'm speaking on your behalf, David, but golden eagles 1 second, and then a warbler or a cormorant or something else the next, that his position is so broad in that way. So appreciate what you do.
Yeah, and I really have to lean on all the partners for that. So, in contracts with the universities and, across the state to get all this work done. So it's, without partnership efforts, we couldn't accomplish all that we do.
Yeah.
And I think it's great with this new partnership with TDEC and Fish and Wildlife Service that we're just moving conservation forward in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To bring a bird back, the weight of that, we often hear about what we're losing, and it's so rapid today. I don't know what the statistics say, but how many species disappear from the earth. And knowing that we get to bring one back to Tennessee is just, it is a career highlight for me. And I don't know about both of you, but I'm guessing the same.
Oh, definitely. This is a very exciting project, and it's not every day you get to do, a repatriation like this, and so it's very exciting. We're glad to be involved with TWRA for this.
Yeah.
So let's start with the red-cockaded woodpecker, the RCW. Explain that bird to us. Tell us what that bird is. Explain it. What's it look like?
Man, it's a really neat looking bird. It looks pretty similar to like your hairy or downy woodpecker that you may have in your backyard, but this has like some large white cheek patches that make it a little bit different, and kind of a barred back. What's really interesting about this bird is that they work in clusters, and so they have a family group, which is called like a clan. And so there'll be one female and up to 5 males, within a cluster or clan. And so the young males will also help out with the feeding, defending territory, excavating new nests when we get to that point. And so it's really unique for the species to behave like that.
Yeah, and unique call. It is those large white cheek patches. If anybody knows a common woodpecker in our area, it is those large white cheek patches that give it away for me.
Yeah, and if it gets excited, you will be able to see the red just above that cheek patch. And so,
for what it's named.
If they're agitated, yes. If they're agitated or showing territoriality or something like that, they will give you a glimpse of that.
Does the male and the female both have the red?
No, the male just has the red, but they're pretty indistinguishable in the field, and so when they're not, showing that patch, they look pretty identical.
And how big is the bird? Describe it compared to a blue jay or compared to a robin.
Oh, I think very close. I mean, the backyard birds would be more like your hairy and downy woodpecker that you probably see every day. About robin size, I'd say, a little bit smaller than that.
Okay. Good comparison to have.
It's important that the habitat is right, so that we bring the bird back in the right type of habitat. And it just so happens that this property that some work was being done on was almost perfect for this bird. Tell us about the habitat, what it looks like, and kind of where we're going to be doing the reintroduction.
Yeah, so this project started off maybe atypically for a typical wildlife habitat project. Our agency was focused on the recovery of the federally threatened white fringeless orchid. Beautiful flower grows in.
Beautiful.
the seep communities on the Cumberland Plateau, and we were having trouble with reproduction of the orchid on the site. And so we started a project to remove the mid-story, let more light in, increase water availability in these habitats. And a colleague who worked at TWRA was involved in the project, saw it, and kind of a light bulb went off is, we have a lot of mature pines in here now that the mid-story has been thinned. And it's starting to look like perhaps RCW habitat. And that's kind of where the conversation started out of this project that would benefit orchids and shortleaf pines. And then the next domino falls and we're talking about RCWs. And then it gets really exciting. We're getting partners involved and continue to move that habitat in the right direction with big pines, open understory, very diverse herbaceous floor cover there in the forest. So it's an exciting site.
And specifically the shortleaf pine. We're not talking other pine species. We're talking about those big pine forests that used to be in existence on the plateau.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at Savage Gulf, we're very fortunate to have some of these very old pines. They've been studied by a couple of universities. University of Alabama Forest Dynamics Lab. They've cored trees, aged them, and we have, pines that are between 80 and 120 years old. So they are very mature, large, straight, shortleaf pines, which in this part of the world is the preferred tree for RCW. And so that was perfect. We've got the trees. We can start talking about birds now.
Yeah, go ahead, David. Why?
Yeah, and another interesting fact, I was just going through and looking at the Breeding Bird Atlas from 1997, the Tennessee Breeding Bird Atlas, and Savage Gulf was actually identified as one of the best locations probably in Tennessee to do a reintroduction effort.
And we didn't say why, what happened? Why is that bird no longer in Tennessee? Why do we need to bring it back?
So we've had them in the past. They were pretty much across the state in around the 60s, 70s. They started to decline in the 80s, and it's just that it's really tough to keep the habitat in this early successional habitat that you need. It means regularly burning, like Sam mentioned, and maintenance. And so that's something that we're going to have to do moving forward to keep this bird and make sure that it prospers in Tennessee.
And
which is great because that management regime also benefits the species that the project started for. So we've got this natural community and the management that's going to make RCW reintroduction possible is also going to help the orchids and the shortleaf pines and various butterfly species and things persist because they are also craving that prescribed fire and regular management of an open pine woodland.
Yeah, and other birds too, like the Bachman sparrow is a state endangered species, and so this is the habitat that they need. So, we're not only working for the red-cockaded woodpecker, but we're trying to bring Bachman sparrow.
Yeah, you've mentioned non-game, but just what an impact it's going to make for turkey and deer and those kinds of animals too. They thrive. We talk about it all the time, but the work that you guys are doing on the ground not only benefits the species you're working for, but so many more down the line.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it was our friend John Dureski with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, who is the RCW specialist in the Southeast, shared that it's like a house that's collapsed. A lot of things can still use it. Mice, plants grow around it, but that rebuilding it and adding that main character back in is really what that RCW is like. So there's still things there, but the white fringeless orchid, the Bachman sparrow, just so many things are going to benefit from recreating that healthier ecosystem.
Yeah.
I can't imagine more important work. Just so thrilled.
Yeah, and bobwhite quail will be another one that will benefit from this. And so we're really doing a lot to try and bring that bird back to historical level populations.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people love that bird and want to see it back. Not just the folks who love to hunt that bird, but just to watch it, and hear it. Yeah, it's amazing.
So let's touch briefly on the shortleaf pine, and you mentioned the age of it, but why does that bird specifically need that tree? We know it can be longleaf pines in other states, but why the shortleaf pine for RCW?
So the shortleaf pine, the interesting thing about this bird is that they're one of the only woodpecker species that make their cavities. And so they need to get into that heartwood of a shortleaf pine, and usually it's associated with a type of heartwood rot, and so that makes it soft enough for it to go in there and be able to make a cavity in the tree. But it's just basically the ecosystem that those trees grow in, and having that wide open spaces is how that bird interacts with that ecosystem.
So they actually need the living tree, not
Yes.
just the dead, but the living tree,
Yeah,
and other
that's correct,
woodpeckers
yeah.
aren't like that, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the excavating that cavity causes the tree to produce resin, which then protects the nest. And so a lot of predators can't get to that nest because it's in a living tree and it's exuding resin, which acts as kind of their home defense.
That's crazy.
Which protects that nest.
What would predate upon RCWs?
Well, yeah, snakes.
Yeah.
So gray rat snakes, raccoons, anything climb to that height?
I think it's mainly for snakes at that
Okay.
height. I mean,
Pretty
in other
cool.
areas, we might have, nest competitors like flying squirrels and things like that. But
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
I think I was going to mention the nest, how the barrier that it creates, the natural the pine sap or resin or whatever is coming out. How are we going to recreate that? And I know I may be jumping ahead, but we have to take a step or two to make that house for that bird to reintroduce it, right?
Right.
So I mean, there's going to be a lot of work going into this.
Oh, yeah.
Before we can even bring
Yeah,
the
we
actual
have-
bird in.
yeah, we have a lot of work to get started on this. So there's a couple different options. I mean, you can install artificial nest cavities where you go up and you actually install a cavity at that certain level, and then they'll maintain it over time.
So you're drilling holes, right? Installing. That's
We'd actually
what
use
you
a
mean?
chainsaw for that
Okay,
option, and then
okay.
install like a next cavity box, I guess it would look like.
That goes inside the tree.
It goes inside
Yeah,
the
like
tree.
a kind of picture a birdhouse that you're sticking into the trunk rather than hanging on the outside.
Oh, okay.
And then the other option would be just to drill into the tree and drill into the heartwood and artificially create a cavity that way by routing out the inside.
Wow. So welcome to my sappy doorstep.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's not just, and then too, just think about this. It's not just a straight in hole, is it? I mean, it
No.
goes in and then kind of goes down.
That's right.
Okay,
It's
man.
complicated.
Yeah. So, but other states and other partners have done this, right? I mean, it's happened across the U.S. Right?
Oh yeah, it's happening, and also we'll be contracting with some folks to initially get this started, to get these cavities put in. But yeah, we hope to learn how to do it ourselves eventually.
And that's
Very cool.
that's the good news about when we're doing it is we get to benefit from all of the knowledge that people have gained doing these recovery efforts in Florida and Georgia and Mississippi and Alabama, and now that we're moving into Tennessee, we don't have to do as much trial and error as they did. We can learn what works from them and implement it here,
I see two eggs.
which will make it a little bit less of a lift for us.
And let's back up just a little bit. What size area, so Sam, you mentioned it, what size area do RCWs need? And then what's been done already? And then what needs to take place before we see those birds come? So we know we need to excavate cavities, but what else?
We need to continue our restoration work on the ground and make sure that habitat is just in the prime condition before we set birds loose in there. And so there's some continued prescribed burning, some invasive species treatments, and evaluating our canopy cover and making sure we've got that at the perfect level to give them the best chance of success after reintroduction. So on the habitat side, that's kind of what we're working towards. And then there'll be additional work that David can talk about with the actual network of bird producing entities out there.
And how many acres do RCWs need in total for a clan to be successful?
Our goal would be 1,200 to get a sustainable population
Wow.
in Tennessee. I think that's what we're headed for.
And then hopefully that footprint will grow as the birds begin to reproduce. We can continue that restoration work out from the core area and hopefully have a big population at Savage Gulf and beyond one day.
Yeah, I think it's amazing that Tennessee, we have this to work with. And
yeah.
even though, thank goodness for the white fringeless orchid catching your eye and it growing to this. So tell us a little bit more about that life history of the bird, and then maybe how we see how that's playing out on the landscape, but we don't have any birds, how that process takes place.
Yeah, so that's what we're currently going through right now, and it's a pretty intensive permitting process. And so we work through the Fish and Wildlife Service. We're doing that currently. I mean, we have to identify the exact trees where we're going to put these nest box or cavity boxes.
Wow.
And so that's the process we're going through right now. And then we'll be working with the Fish and Wildlife Service to get the permits. But then after that, we need to give a presentation to a group that specifically meets once a year. And that's where people with birds get together, without birds, and you kind of explain your project, how many you need, and see what locations you can get them. And so once we determine that, it'll be a process of us going down there, picking up the birds, bringing them back. And the way that you release them is you'll put them in the cavity at night, because the cavities will already be existed. You cover it up and let them loose in the morning, and keep your fingers crossed and hope they stick around.
So tell us about that. I know John Dorusky shared with us, but tell us about that day in the life of an RCW.
Well, I mean, they're going to be going about their business. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, they're communal birds, and they exist in these clans, and so the young birds are helping out the mated couple to raise the birds, so they'll assist in feeding, they'll assist in defending the territory, and then also have a job of excavating the new nest and keeping those active.
Yeah, and what I specifically remember is that it was shared with us that they come out at sunrise every day.
Right.
And that makes them, and they go in at dusk every night, and that's what makes them more easily caught for this process. So we'd bring the birds in, put them in their cavities, and then release them at sunrise.
Yeah, I guess they're as predictable as us going to work.
Just a 9 to 5. That's what I was thinking about too. Are we capturing these birds with partners, or are these birds raised and donated or sold, or how does that work? How do we acquire those birds?
So we figured that out through the group that I was speaking about, and people say how many birds they have to donate, and then they'll go into a pool, and we hope to get 10 to 20 birds at some point, and so the more that you do, the better success that you're going to have, and so. It's just,
Will they come in those family, in that clan? Will we get a clan at a time?
well, you usually get a female and some males, and they'll come individually.
Okay.
And they're all packaged in their boxes, and we'll have to drive them all back and release them, but.
Wow.
It's so cool.
It kind of reminds me of some of the other work that we've done, reintroducing elk and largemouth bass, or the Florida largemouth or whatever, and having to truck them in and go get them and truck them in. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so we're still learning how to do all this, but it's a steep learning curve, but we're really excited about it and looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And to have those other agencies that have trekked
Yeah.
before us. So I think one of the things that I noted was we will be at the northern part of its current range. What's the status of that bird right now in the United States?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of the populations are around coastal areas, and so this will help the population out because it's more northern, and in case there's any catastrophic events to happen to those other areas. And so this will give the species really another opportunity to be persistent and be resilient as we deal with these weather and other events.
And it's still endangered? What?
It's threatened right now.
Threatened, okay.
I was downlisted in 2020 from endangered to threatened, and so the next step would be to delist it. Goals for that are 2050.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And so we still have a lot of time and work. And
Yeah, that's 25 years from now. Wow. Well, speaking of years and the timeline, what's the timeline of this project look like? So I don't know, we're recording this 4 days after it was the announcement. So what's the next steps and what's the timeline?
well, TDEC's been doing most of the work now and just trying to get the habitat ready.
Yeah, so that's already started. So where are we going next?
So we're still in process on that, and I think we've got the fun job because the trees can't run away from us. We don't have to go catch trees. So we're working with David and his team. We're working with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service just to make sure we get that habitat right. And so we've bitten off the first big chunk of that restoration, almost 500 acres, and the next step would be to bite off the next 700 to get to that 1,200 acre goal that David mentioned.
Yeah.
And we're hoping within the next year or two we'll get that where it needs to be and can maintain it for a little bit, and then hopefully we'll be ready for birds.
And then while all that's going on, we're trying to get the permits, working through all the GIS exercises we need to do, creating the maps, making sure we have appropriate habitat. our plan right now is to actually get the birds fall of 28.
Okay.
But we still have to go through this process, go to that group, and hopefully there are birds available. So there's a lot of different variables that play into this, but to set a goal is going to be fall of 2028 to actually put birds out.
Awesome. Yeah.
And we had the pleasure, Jason, of being out there with Sam on the ground that this work's taking place, and the scale just blew me away. And knowing that a lot of those understory trees had been cut by hand on 500 acres. I'm so grateful that there are this many people like David, like Sam, that are committed to wildlife and willing to put in this work for a white fringeless orchid. We often talk about it here in the agency. It's a Jenga puzzle, and a lot of pieces get pulled out, and we're putting one back in to make it a little bit more stable.
Yeah.
And it's not just putting one piece in like the RCW, but all the habitat work and research and conversation that takes place. So grateful. So I know how I feel about it. I'm all weepy, just so thrilled about it. But Sam, how does it feel to you to be part of a project to help bring back these birds?
Oh, it's so exciting. This is kind of our if you build it, they will come moment. And so we're thrilled about Savage Gulf anyways, and to have this on top of that is just fantastic.
And David?
Yeah, this is just a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for all of us, and so it's just really excited to be involved because, bringing back a species is pretty amazing.
I know you're really passionate about it. I think I heard that you got asked the question, what would you like to bring back one day? And you, this bird, and here we are, we're doing it. Yeah, so it's cool.
Congratulations to both of you, and thank you so much for the work.
Yeah. Real quick, Mimi, if people want to help, support, how do they do that?
tnswap.com is a website they can go to, or they can find it through tnwildlife.org. We'll have links over to that storyboard, and they can stay up to date on the RCW project, follow us, support us. You can buy a T-shirt in support of it, or you can just donate to the project. And we welcome people and appreciate anybody that has to give.
Yeah. Well, we'll put that link on the screen right here, Todd, and then we'll also put it in the description below so y'all can check out that link and donate and support. Appreciate you guys so very much for being here. Mimi, thanks for pulling us together and your work in this effort as well. So
thanks.
Y'all are doing good work, and thank y'all.
Well, thanks for having us on.
Y'all. Thank you.
All right. Hey, this is Tennessee WildCast, and this is what it's all about. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Keep coming back for more, and we'll see you next time.
Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org. And follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram. You can invest in Tennessee's wildlife future by purchasing a license at GoOutdoorsTennessee.com. That's GoOutdoorsTennessee.com.